many napkins. Or did I? We'll find out. That reminds me. You know, like, did you ever see that episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm? And I don't remember what season it was in or whatever. I think it was an early one because I'm super behind on those. Where Larry and whoever else he was out with, they were, at lunch or whatever, and like there just wasn't enough napkins. And he wound up just taking a bunch of napkins and he got in trouble and whatever. I find that relatable. I do like to have extra napkins. If I'm just given 2 like napkins, in a certain situation, it's not enough. It's not enough. Need more. Because the nice thing is then you can stick them in your glove compartment in your car. That. So then you have extra napkins. Good morning, Sean. How are you? How's everything going with you? Dude, I got a picture of what's coming back from Paint for you. And it's got another guitar in it, so I'm not sending it to you. Not that the other one is a surprise. Well, it is a surprise to the owner. The thing that other guitar, this one is exciting. I've talked about this in the Facebook group. I think someone had posted like, oh, I wish one of these days I'm just gonna tell you to build whatever you want. And on one hand, I love that sort of thing because the trust that's it's just kind of like. I trust you. It's whatever you come up with, it's gonna be cool, and you just do it. I love that. And on the other hand, I need some parameters because I have a bunch of other guitars that I need to build that have, I know what they are, and I've talked about this every now and again. But while this is a creative job in a sense, I don't always feel very creative in the job, which might be silly because a lot of the designs that we make are my own or my own little spin on something, something that is creative, right? But so anyway, when I'm given those tasks, so there's this build that is in the paint queue along with Sean's. I'm just going to gesture like this. And that particular guitar was one of those where its owner said, do whatever you want. And I'm like, well, okay, rad. And then I was given some photos, some music, just to kind of serve as inspiration. And there was a big part of me that was just like, oh, don't do that to me, because it's just like, come up with something great right now. And that's not where the person was coming from. But I'm going through the process. I'm looking at these photos and stuff. And then I see this photo. I'm like, holy crap, that's the color palette. And I was so relieved. Also super excited because I love all the colors in said color palette. So I told the owner that I've made the decision, but there was a part of me that didn't want to share the decision. And they were all, okay. And that was good. I was happy about that. And so as I'm getting, as I see this particular instrument progress through the paint process, super excited. And, I want to share this with the owner, to share in my excitement. But I made this decision that like, I'm not going to send them any photos. You're just going to see it when you open it. And I think that's fun. So all of that to say, that the photo that I got where Sean was your guitar and then this other one together. And, not that I think you're gonna, post it, oh, look at this suit, like, in real, cause like nobody cares. But, yeah, but it is on its way back to me. So that is, c'est cool. which means I need to. It reminds me, I gotta hit up the people at Fishman for your Devin Townsend's. Having some coffee in the weekend coffee mug. We have the Arc de Triomphe in today's weekend coffee mug. I have a peach galette. I'm very health conscious. Clearly, nothing quite starts out your day on the right healthy method, right healthy foot, in a good way, like a peach galette. God damn, that's good. It is very exciting for everybody. I think so too. Speaking of things being exciting for people, this 624, the old Poseidon Sparkle, this is filming, like on the screen, this is a little more pale. It almost looks silvery on my monitor. It is absolutely bluey, aqua-y, and cool. So I'll be wrapping this thing up and sending it to its owner. I don't know, this week, in the next few days. So I was picking up some stuff from the old Plecaroonie. This being one of them. Want to see the other? Sure you do. And even if you don't, I'm gonna fucking show you. Stay. Let's just lay it down. Let's just do that. And then this one. Look at this fucker. Hey, you forgot to put the sound stuff in. No, I didn't. I just didn't get it around to it yet. Raveny. So perfect. So obviously this is a Raven. It's short scale though, which is not something we do very often. I think that of all the Ravens I've made, there's maybe, let's see. Peach counts as fruit. I know there was one short scale in the old style. There was one short scale. I think this is maybe only the second one in short scale that I've made. So yeah, I mean, we just do them in 25 and a half unless someone asks specifically for 24 3/4. That's a fun sound. So cool story as far as that goes. And we'll get this one wrapped up and off to our pal Mario in the next couple days. So that's nice. I'm excited about that. We got, there's been a few guitars in the let's get this finished stage. That's cool. Big Ryan, make it sparkle. Yeah. Ryan, thank you very much also for, I know I shared your post yesterday about your Nutrella, and which is different from Nutella. That's a different whole thing altogether. But thank you for your very kind words. That means a lot, and I truly appreciate them. I'm glad that you are happy with your guitar, so much so that Ryan ordered another one. Which this is behavior that I really need to encourage in you, the public, all 12 of you that are watching. When you get a Sully guitar that you like, which, I mean, why wouldn't you? It is considered proper etiquette to just order another one. And, there are many of you in here who have done just that. So I would like to reward and recognize those of you. Rob, thank you, Rob. You've been a client for a very long time. And I really appreciate that. Sean, Same. Appreciate that. And now Ryan. I remember Ryan came to visit the garage. Gosh, probably about 6 years ago or so. When soon after I did the batch of guitars with Grover, which is probably more than 6 years ago, but that's okay. And because I had, when we made the trellas, I had the ones that we made, and then I had some bodies and necks, just some extras. And so Ryan was checking those out. Like, man, these are really cool. And it took some time, and that's how it is sometimes, and that's okay. But Ryan made a big splash as a new Sully guitar owner, in that he got it, and he's like, give me another one. That's what I would like to hear. So thank you for all of your kindness and your support. So this is a good question, and there is no average weight, because I don't know. I don't generally weigh the guitars. Isn't it beautiful? I don't weigh them. I certainly don't build them with a target weight in mind, because so many factors can influence your end result. And I'm sure that there are people that have their shit together in a manner that they can say, oh yes, this plus this plus this equals under 8 pounds. I think that in order to do that, and this is just off the top of my head, I could be totally wrong. I think you have to have your supply chain kind of down. One thing that we have started doing is weighing body blanks, and as we stack them, I can see the weights. It's really kind of like for my own information, because like some of the blanks that I'll get from my suppliers, don't you just buy planks of lumber? Sometimes, but a lot of times it's just easier just to get pre-made blanks. Isn't that more expensive? It can be, but when you factor in your time of milling down lumber, it balances out. And there's also something to be said for just having the stuff and not having to worry about sourcing it. So anyway, one of my suppliers, like I'll get the blanks and they have weights on them, and I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, maybe that's a good idea. So, I do my best to not get stuff that's heavy, but I also don't necessarily have a whole ton of control over it. And I can use Astros as an example. Those first two, like Astros, they're big guitars, and those two guitars were made with the same body and neck woods that I got. They're made from the same body and neck woods that I bought at a certain batch. And it turns out that the black limba that I bought for those guitars, was a little on the heavy side. And when I made those guitars, I didn't really notice that they were a little heavier than one might expect. I remember picking them up and go, man, this is like a solid, like you feel like you got a thing. You feel like it's almost like a shield. It's like you're going forward with this thing and it's got you. And I don't know, I think it's kind of a nice feeling. But, when I had the one at NAMM, somebody mentioned, it's like, oh geez, this, I really want one of these, but like this one feels heavy. I'm like, really? I don't know, it feels kind of, Turns out, it was like just under 9, which I don't know, maybe that's heavy. I'm not here to fat shame guitars, and I'm not saying that people that are obsessed with weight are. Maybe they are, but I get where you're coming from. But so the really long answer is like, I don't know. I try and keep them, a comfortable weight, which can be challenging because they are really big guitars, and you kind of have to, in my opinion, in order to kind of make these things balance, I've done a few things. one of them is kind of you make the body a little bit thicker than like what the oldie timey versions of those things are, because those bodies are really thin. And I understand why to a certain extent, because they are big guitars, and you do want things to balance. But the oldie timey versions, I don't think they do balance on a strap. I mean, I don't think I've ever played one, which they're not really my thing, and that wasn't my point of reference. So I don't know, but I think that, if someone mentions, I'd like to make it as light as possible, I can keep it in mind. My answer is always going to be, I'll do my best, but like, there's no way I can like build a guitar. There's no way I can build a thing and say that if I use all of these components by the end of the whole process, this will weigh blah, blah, blah. And I know that most people aren't really asking for that. They're just kind of, give me like a target, like get me in like, not much over 8. And again, I'll be like, I'll do what I can, but anyway, so, I try not to make things that are backbreakers. And, I like, but, if we think about things like, like the conspiracy series guitars, like that's completely out of my fucking hands. So, yeah, and I know we weren't really talking about that, so why did I interject? Well, because it's somewhat relevant. I owned a film special effects company for years. Oh, that's cool. Because the immense creative possibilities, by time creative meetings, time frame, budget share. In terms of, yeah, it's nice to be offered projects where you have complete control, in my opinion, is my point. Yeah, I think I can see that. But for me, I have to balance those things. And I've been very fortunate to have clients over the years just go, I want that model, think in this color, but do this how you see fit. And that means a lot. Because, part of like the custom process is I take all the specs and I say, okay, I can visualize it, and I don't think that's a particularly special talent. I think, but I see what it's going to look like, and I'm like, okay, I think I get what you're going for, but we want to make sure that we're not taking this opportunity of having something made for you to take every single option under the sun and then there's like jam it into one thing. It's got to balance, and you got to pick your focal points and things like that. So there are times, when during the consultation process, we'll say, okay, so we're talking about this finish. How about if we did it in this way? Because, I think it might be an overall better end. And generally speaking, I've never had anyone say, well, no, I have had some people say, no, I want it like this. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Yeah. Ooh, Pringles can with the Sully logo, because once you pop, yeah, that's right. I do like repurposing, logos to my liking, as you see by this lovely used coaster. Let's see. For real, Gateway Drug Guitar Company. I got to redo our merch options. That's something that I have been kind of toying with a couple of different suppliers. I ordered some samples, which reminds me, like one was like a kind of a rad bomber jacket. Now I know that the only person that's going to wear a Sully Guitars bomber jacket is me, but I bought one and it's dope. So it's lightweight, which is nice because I live in the 9th ring of hell called Texas. It's one of the things that I really miss, especially this time of year: jeans and jackets. I don't miss jean jackets, although I did have one when I was in like, junior high. And you put maybe even early high school, and you put your various patches and drawings on your jean jacket. It's better be heavy than unbalanced. That's how I live my life. I think with like, so in the case of your guitars, Sean, so Sean likes baritones, and I like baritones. I don't know. I've talked about this before. Like, I like where they sit in a mix. They sound to me like a cello, and I like that. But with a longer scale, and these headstocks aren't small. Why don't you make them smaller? Why don't you make them smaller? Uh, especially if someone's like, well, I'd like a Raven bass made out of swamp ash. And I'd be like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Because it's just gonna go. And some people don't care about that, but I do. So sometimes you have to make you've got to make some concessions. You got to do some things to make things work. Hank, good morning to you. Ooh, Rob. All my Sullys are amongst my lightest guitars, but 3 of the 4 are 624s. Anything 9 or less works for me. I only ask because I have a bad left shoulder. Not really a big issue because I play sitting 90% of the time, but I always stayed away from the Raven for that reason. Oh, yeah, I mean, this one, like, I don't think this is heavy. I think, some of the things that, like your bridge can certainly impact that, because if we start out on the lighter side of things, and then we've got like a Floyd with a big ass brass bridge and stuff like that, that's certainly going to add some weight to the equation. I did have this conversation with someone earlier in the week about, I want this thing at the end of the day to be like in the 7.5 pound range. And I'm like, and for whatever reason, talk about shoulder issues, talk about things like that. I get it. And that's totally cool. I'm not saying, I can't do that. I am saying that it's like, I'll do my best, but like, I'm not going to make a bunch of them. And like, you can buy the lightest one, because it's just, I don't have that kind of a budget. But yeah, like, I think, I think we generally wind up around the 8-ish range. Oops. Catfish web cramp. Good morning. The next color for Stardust. Also, what kind of instrument I want? A bass 6 would fill a lot of needs. Evan, it's funny. There's a Stardust that we're going to be wrapping up shortly. It is a sparkle color called Fruit Punch, and so it's in the pink, red. It's got some blue. It's got some fuchsia flakes in it, and it's got gold hardware and an Evertune and a gold frosted pickguard. That's when you take like Gretsch does stuff like that. They've got like the silver pickguards where it kind of looks kind of like a frosted kind of acrylic. It's just clear acrylic that you spray the back of it like silver or gold. So like I sprayed the back of this pickguard gold, and it's got like gold hardware. And then you'll I think appreciate this. The only control is a latching kill button, and that's gold. And I showed a picture to Kyle, and he's like, is that for Evan? That's a very Evan thing. And I'm like, no, it's not. But you're right. It is a very Evan thing. It's also a short scale Stardust. So, yeah. But I think a bass 6 kind of thing, I'm open. I'm super open to doing that on a Stardust. I think that's a great platform for these kinds of things. Sean's got a 27-inch baritone Stardust that we're going to be wrapping up, over the next few weeks. And so it's going to be in the. There's even like I said yes to building a 12-string Stardust. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's going to tune that thing. But I said yes. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And yeah. Oh wait, the bomber jacket. Oh yes, yeah, you would. I can get it out of the closet. I can show you. It's got the Concord logo like embroidered into it. It's pretty bitchin'. Um, yeah, so like Evan, I would be totally open to do like a base six Stardust. I feel like I mean like there's some information I'm going to need about those things, and I think Sean, we've kind of talked about that too, because I think that's also something kind of in your wheelhouse. And people have said, "Well, Sully, you like the Cure so much. Why haven't you made one of those?" I'm like, well, I can't materialize these things in hours. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. So like much like with this 12 string, I'm gonna need to get like measurements of like things that already exist. Like, is the neck width the same? I mean, it probably is, but I don't know. So there's totally down to do it. Yeah. Let's see. Of course you do. 7.4. Yeah. See, now that guitar came out very light, um, because that was using a body wood that's new to me called Peroda or Guanacaste, which is it's from Costa Rica. It is in plentiful supply. It is like if you were to take the properties of mahogany, of koa, and like swamp ash, in that you get like the lightness, or the weight of like swamp ash, and like the look, like it's an open poured wood, like mahogany, like koa. It kind of has more, like the color is more brown than orange, like mahogany is. So it's more brown, like koa is, and depending on how you cut it, you can get a lot of some figure, some movement, some things like that. Um, and like some of the blanks that I have of that stuff, I want to say they're like under 10 pounds. And if a blank is under 10 pounds, that thing's gonna be light. So yeah, that thing came out super great. That's one of the things that people are often surprised by when they see a 71 in person. I experienced this a lot at NAMM when I was handing the two that I had at the show to people to check out, and it's always like, "Whoa, this is light." And I'm like, I understand. Damn it, you look at this thing and you have some expectations, like, oh, it's gonna be really thick, it's gonna be really heavy, and blah 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 blah, and it's like, it's just they're kind of like cheetahs in different costumes. They're lithe and speedy. Anyway, will scallop necks or fan frets ever become an option on your custom? Probably not. Yeah, probably not. Not because I don't like them, but that's another thing that would require. It's going to require a lot of work. And I know scalloping, it's just, you're just removing the bits, and it's like, I don't know. Like if I could write a program on the CNC that would kind of, and I know you can, I mean, it's just various ball mills that will do it. Yeah, I don't know. It's not something that people, not enough people have really said, this is what I want. So it hasn't really been something that I can focus on. Can be, yeah. There are certainly things that can help out with that. Oh yeah, don't worry about that. I can't understate. I can't overstate enough. That's right. I can't. It's impossible for me to overstate the fact that under no like I would probably never. I would probably rather never make another guitar again than to have one of those things on one of my guitars. I hate them that much. I think they are absolutely fucking hideous. Well, I've already got all that CAD work done, so yeah. Yeah, I think it is possible because, like, and this is kind of interesting. Right now, there are the most amount of Stardusts in that are close to being completed than ever. There's a lefty for DJ, um, and that one's going to look pretty cool. It's got a pretty rad sullied finish, a little peekaboo action. Um, there's a caddy green, like Cadillac green with like gold pearl, Stardust 24 fret. There's the short scale Evertune Fruit Punch. There's a Champagne Sparkle One Hum Schallerhannes that's just about done. I just need to clean up the cutter marks from the plaque. So is that 4 for DJ, Fruit Punch, Caddy Green, Champagne Sparkle, and then Sean yours. The it's funny, if we would have put I was showing pictures of it to David, and he said it's a good thing you didn't put white binding on it because it would look like a tennis ball. But I'm like, oh wait a minute, maybe we should do one with white binding. But that's also probably going to be the only Sully to be in that color. Let's see. No? Huh. Okay. I thought we had this conversation. All right. Evertune on, oh yeah, of course. I mean, that goes without saying. I already knew that. Engineering is a box of bees. It is. It is, it is, it is. Good morning. Good morning to you, Jeff. How are you? I think I've covered everything so far, right? Right. I'm gonna have a little bit more of this peach galette because I'm, very health conscious. So we had a build class last week. I think it went well. We had a good group of people. They're all a good group of friends. We got some stuff done. There is going to be a class in November. It's going to be smaller. Going to be smaller because it'll be a little easier for me because classes are a lot of plate spinning and yeah, so we're going to be smaller. I think this November one, it's just going to be 2 people. One person is committed, so there's 1 slot. So it went well. We had a good time. We made some pretty unique guitars, which I think is cool. I made a 28 scale baritone, like a Strat style with a 3/3 kind of headstock. It's got a pick guard. The idea is its owner was just kind of just made an offhanded kind of like, I always wanted to get like an 8-string, like he's got some 8-string guitars, and like I always want a by Catfish. I always wanted like an 8-string, but just leave off the top 2 treble strings. So it's just like a 6-string, but like with the bottom 6, 8. And I'm like, well, what scale is your 8-string? He's like 28. I'm like, okay, so we just make a 28 scale guitar, put big strings on it. He's like, yeah, that'd be great. And I'm like, well, okay, we should be able to do that. So so that's what we did. Kyle wanted Kyle loves Racer X, or Paul Gilbert, or both. I don't know his life. And he wanted something like Paul's Ice Destroyer. He's like, can I have like an ice Lita? Sure, why not? And so he made that. And let's see, Oscar did like a Super Telly, which is like we just took a 624 T body, but I don't mind doing that. We had a good time. And then Ian wanted like a Super Telly, but wanted the body to look a bit more traditional than like a 624T does. Which, we've been talking about like ideas like, hey, have you ever done this, like, 12 string, or have you ever fan frets or things like that? And it's like, it's something that I've thought of. And I always joke, but it's true that deposits make things happen. But what I mean, like it's in one sense, we're jokingly saying, put up or shut up, but I'm really not. But like, you can take it that way. But the other, where I'm coming from, is like, yes, that's something I've thought about doing, but like, it would be really, 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 whatever this fill in the blank is, would be super, super niche. And like, I'm already making stuff that's already super, super niche, and making like super niche into super niche into super niche, when I've got all these other guitars to build, it just doesn't make sense to do. So, man, I forgot where I started with this. Shit. Crap, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, the super telly kind of thing. One of the things that I've thought about doing is, with the 622s, yeah, I'm a 622. That being somewhat popular. Although I'm kind of wondering if I've fished out that pool, because we used to sell out the 622 runs pretty immediately, and we don't anymore. Which is, it's also just a combination of things. But I maybe thought about doing like a 622T. Now I'm gonna say something here. I don't like Telecasters. Like, I don't like them. I don't find them particularly good looking. I just don't like them. They're not for me. I am absolutely in the minority here. They're wildly popular. Many people love them. A lot of people say you just can't beat one. And I'm like, you can though. That's the thing. You really quite easily. But since they're, pretty easy to make, I thought maybe we would do, like a 622T. And then I also thought, do the people that buy my stuff want this? And if so, how close to like a telly do I have to get? Because like, I don't want to put that telly bridge. I don't want to put a telly. The pickup. I just don't. And the good news is for people that want that sort of thing, you can find them anywhere. So, and by saying that, I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm just so different, because let's face it, I'm not. But we are, and I am in the fashion business. I like fashion, and a telly is just like a pair of like culottes. I don't want to fucking wear them. So, however, for this class, I'm like, yeah, you want those? I don't care. Sure. So I finally did what I when I was thinking about this idea, like, let's just draw the thing, because that's where it starts. And so I came up with it. It's sleeker, like a 622 is sleeker than a Strat. And I came up with like a class 6-in-line headstock that, like, I think it looks pretty good. It's very Anderson Sur-y, but like, I don't know. I think the curve is a little better. And so I sent the picture to the student. I'm like, how's this? And he's like, that looks great. Oh, I love that headstock. Fantastic. So now I've got this thing. And what's funny is, like, that same time that all this was going on, another client from years prior is looking for like a more traditional telly kind of thing. I'm like, boy, are you in luck? How about this? And then I got someone asking for that sort of thing, but like with an Evertune. I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, we can do that. I'm we've made a couple of guitars that have Evertunes. I haven't figured it out quite yet to where it's like the same as working with a Floyd for me, but we'll get there. And so yeah. Let's see. Wait. What do we got here? Was that purchased or made because I want the pastry? The peach galette. That is from a bakery in Frisco down the street from me called Tulla, Tulla. It's on El Dorado and Teal. That and chocolate, yeah. It's maybe a more red pastel color is something I've been thinking, like cherry dip Dairy Queen Dilly Bar. See, now my man, there was a Dairy Queen that I used to go to as a teen, and I would always get a cone, but I would get it cherry dipped because it looks like blood. How is my Revolution Michael Sweet guitar progress? We have two in the process at the moment. One is in paint. The other one will be shortly. And like I've asked, so I don't know if this is Andy or not. So the one that's in paint is ready for stripes. And I said, hang on, we're going to send this other one. But I need a case first. And the case that we use for them has been on back order. I should have it in a couple weeks. So, once I can get the thing in the paint process, we'll be moving along. I just started doing online lessons with Paul Gilbert. That's really cool. Telecaster is a man's guitar. Then I'm a woman. Say what you want. The Richie Cotton Telly is. I had one in which I still. It's hey, people think these things look great. Some people think these things look terrible. So it's in the eye of the beholder, but like there's nothing about that works for me, but that's okay. I'm not buying one. Brett has one and loves it. Goodbye, Sean. Oddly enough, that fat neck is so comfortable. See, I don't buy it. And I say this as a person, like, I'm not out here making wizard necks. But it's a funny thing with necks. You pick them up and it's either like, yeah, all right, or it's, oof, no. And I think that because I've ran into more, oof, no's, that maybe that's why I do this. I don't think it really is though, because like, I'm not that like, oh, nothing out here satisfies me. I must make my own. Not really. Gotta walk Dobby. All right. Makes it focus on proper hand position. Okay. Well, that's a nice thing. If the thing's fun to play for you and you truly enjoy playing it, that's all you can ask for. Right? That's all you can ask for. Good morning. Okay, Andy, yes. Yours is the second one. I've got the case, back order, and then it goes off. But thank you for your patience. And yeah, so we did a class recap. I did mention that we're going to talk about pain au chocolat, but I went peach galette instead, et je ne sais quoi, which means I don't know what. And so that's what we're talking about now. Sweet classes. Pricing. I don't really know if this is worth sharing, but like, oh wait, what's this? My 92 has my favorite neck. You know what's, well, good. I'm glad. What's funny to me is, so that neck back shape, the file for that neck back shape, it's the same file. Like most of just about all of the programs these days of the back shapes are the same. Um, and what I usually wind up doing is, I mean, yours will be a little bit different because I don't even know that the taper is different, but because it's a shorter scale. But and sanding, fretboard thickness, things like that, that's going to vary. Well, shouldn't it all be consistent? Yes, I'm doing my best. But yeah, it's like the same back shape. But so many things go into the process. Is you start out with one thing, and then you have to complete it. That's a great statement. Everyone's real proud of you. You're doing great work. Can you just be nice to me for once? Okay. So someone had asked, and this is a totally fine question. Had said, I really wish that you could put out something like a standard series made in the U.S. at like a $2,000 price point. Wouldn't that be great? I do too. I really do too. And for quite some time, like that's kind of where the 622s end up. And for years, like for a few years, I would do these. I've been doing these things for a few years now. These live ramblings, and usually in like the beginning of a year, kind of like a post NAM kind of thing, I'll kind of talk about things that I would like to do this year. And like a standard series is one of those things where basically we're saying, okay, so you want a 624 with a hardtail? It would look just like this. Like 2 hums, volume tone toggle, hardtail bridge. Now we've got spoke wheel truss rod. The only thing that would really, well, I would probably do a reverse headstock as the standard, just because making these very, 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 very dangerous for me. Very dangerous for me. They're real dangerous. The way that I'm still doing this part by hand on a router template, and so basically I've got a neck blank. The template is on the face here, and so this is face down, and this router bit is going, and I'm taking off this stuff here. I can't cut this hook on a bandsaw. Maybe you shoot better at a bandsaw. That has nothing to do with it. I'm fine with a bandsaw. But this hook is such that, you got to leave some material on here. And as the bit is going, you eventually have to collide here. You don't have to collide here. Okay, shop teacher. I'm not saying like you drive it into the thing at whatever, but at the end of the day, the bit, this is the same diameter, circumference. I don't know. I ditched math. That's ironic. I know. It's going to just kind of go into a dead end here. It's going to blow out. It's very, very, very unpleasant. So I really, it's one of the reasons that, I mean, like, yeah, I don't like doing this orientation on this headstock like at all. It scares the shit out of me, but I do it for you. But like this would be a standard 624. We do like a solid color, and that's it. But if we were to take, and this isn't like you're all like, yeah, I know, we get it, it's impossible, don't care. But this is like a problem that I would like to be able to solve. And I think really the only way to do it is to become a huge company that you can lose money on a standard US series and make up for it elsewhere. And I don't think I will ever get to that point. um, with this company, with this business. I just don't. Um, because like if you think about it, if we're doing like a standard series, we're going to use the same woods that we use as the customs. We're going to use the same hardware as we use as the customs. Okay, so maybe we won't put binding on a fretboard, or maybe, the sparkle finish is going to cost a little bit extra, which it does. But like, if a custom 624 is at a higher price point, and the only real difference is the paint job, you can't justify. It doesn't balance. It's something that it's just something that I don't think I'll be able to do. Because people are like, well, Kiesel does it. Compared to me, they might as well be like Fender, because they're a huge company. And larger companies are able to do it. I can't. Whatever. Okay, so that's that. I play Sir Moderns mostly, but I have to say the neck on my 71 Starling is my favorite at the moment. Oh, that's great. It's so fast and effortless. Every time I pick it up, I just wish it had 24 frets. I apologize for that, about the 24 frets. That's never going to be an option on that, because visually it makes everything else too scrunched together, and I don't want to do it. Thinking hard about an Astro. Every time I see it, I let out a long exhale. Well, I hope it's not because you're holding your breath. Yeah, I think like we're making some more of those. There's a great chance that those will show up in the conspiracy series. I would like to, I'm still in the process of kind of figuring out like what that guitar is, because like I've only made 2 of them, and we have to kind of figure out, what bridges will work for it, and this, that, and the other thing, because I've only made them with Floyds right now, and I know that there is a large population of people that don't want a Floyd, and that's fine. I think like a Tune-o-matic stop tail piece would work for that particular instrument, and yeah, like the one that we're making right now is a carved top, and it looks really good. It looks really, really, really nice with a carved top on it, so I'm happy about that. I wanted that hook on a star-shaped guitar on all the points. Probably said, not today, motherfucker. See, yeah, it's, so like on the Supernova, it has like little, it has elements of, it has suggestions of the hook, but like that's kind of a machining, easier to machine, and also like, I don't think visually it's what I'm going for. I think that's more of like a, like remember, Neil Moser kind of does that sort of thing where it's just fish hooks, and it's kind of like things have a vibe of like, this is a guitar that could be played in a Hellraiser movie, which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not like saying that's bad. I'm just saying it's not for me. What else? Conspiracy series pre-orders going okay. We've got the 624 TPME, Pale Moon Ebony fretboard, matching head plate, which is pretty bitchin'. Purpley sparkly. We've got Stardust Deluxe, which, quite frankly, I thought would be more popular. It's going to be super, super gorgeous. Raven Bass, Raven 4. Those are available right now. Thinking about what the next batch is going to be, I think we need to have a 624. I have an idea of what it will be of the guitar it'll be modeled after. I don't know what the other options are going to be. We might do a Michael Sweet thing, but I need more information before I can make that decision. Let's see. Flat mountain bridge on a carved top Astro. What monster would do that or ask for it? Well, somebody named Sean. I still don't know that we're going to be able to do it, but because there is some, and I know we've talked about this, there's some geometry that needs to be compatible. because we've got a neck angle, and so your bridge needs to be at a certain point. And if we're doing a flat mount bridge, I'm going to have to recess it. So even if it's fine with that bridge sitting on top of the carve, it won't be after it gets recessed. So we may have to go with a different option, but we'll find out. Well, I think that, people associate Floyd's with, the 80s and all that stuff. And that's, I understand that's where they came into popularity, but I don't know. Beep, 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 beep. I feel the same. If we end up with a hip shot cinematic, that's okay. Okay, I think we probably will. What else? I don't think I have anything else. I gotta get stuff moved along for NAMM because I really wanted to have all the NAMM stuff in paint by the end of September. And the nice thing is, I'm not bringing a ton of guitars to NAMM because I'm just in the boutique guitar showcase. I want to bring 5. If I can only do 4, it's okay. But I need to get them moved further along. Had some opportunities to get stuff into Japan and the Asian market, so we're going to try and pursue that because, look, man, I got to find more people to buy these things. So maybe you should make them look better. That's just fucking hurtful. Well, thanks. Anyway. Floyds love them. They are and always will be a pain in the ass. Okay. I think I can't set them up for the life of me. I think that one thing that would be super helpful in setting up Floyd's is you got to have a little block that goes underneath the bridge and holds it flat. And I know that there are a few tools. There's the tremolock, which is just a flat kind of shim that the things sit on, but it holds it up. It doesn't hold the thing flat. If you can find something that holds it flat, it's a lot easier. And your life will be better for that. Yeah. Do you know where I can find that? If you know where I can find that, that'd be good. That'd be great. I don't even need that much, but I don't even need that much. That's a paltry sum. It's not. It's an unpaltry sum. It's a handsome sum. But yeah, give me some money. So, a little Spinal Tap for you. Anyway, that's it. I gotta go. You got to get on with your life. I hope you had a lovely weekend. I hope you have a great life, and we'll talk later.